What's up, my Valyntpreneurs? Welcome back to Valynt Volumes. I am your host, CEO Dan Spottsvile.
And my name is Makayla Mitchell.
And if this is your first time tuning in, this is a podcast where we talk about entrepreneurship, business, leadership, but most importantly, how to kick ass in life.
I love that intro since you've changed it.
Right.
I really do. And today we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
Our guest today is the founder of Next Level Performance Consulting, a Marine Corps veteran and a seasoned performance consultant who has coached over 4,000 individuals since 2011. With nearly 25 years of strategic leadership experience, our guest recognized the struggle of high achievers losing themselves in the pursuit of success. Sought after coach and motivational speaker, our guest has been featured on platforms like Radio Business X Podcast, Barbell Shrugged, and is regularly featured speaker for Charles Schwab and Amazon. Join us as we explore the world of fitness, entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal development with a visionary individual, Mycal Anders. Welcome to Valynt Volumes, Mycal.
Welcome to the volume.
No pressure.
No
pressure.
Welcome to the volume. Hey, look, for the listeners,
Happy to be here, man.
yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for flying in this morning.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know, look, if you're a first time listener, we just started, having people like Mycal on our show to be able to add more value. I mean, that's the end goal, right? An interesting fact: me and Mycal went to school together, middle school. So
middle school.
we just reconnected. Yeah. So glad to be able to reconnect. Number one. But two, man, I'm just super excited to learn a lot more about what it is that you do in depth.
Yeah.
So, I'm ready to rock today.
Happy to tell it.
So
Yeah.
did you guys stay in touch all these years, or
No,
how did we reconnect?
we just recently reconnected. I know on my end, I recently, probably in the last 6 months, you started
Yeah.
to really have a bigger social media presence.
Yeah.
Specifically on Instagram.
Right.
Oh shit!
I started posting a lot more. Yeah, that's for
And,
sure.
I was really intrigued by a lot of the stuff that you were putting down.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And just reached out. There was a post that really struck me, and so I engaged, left him a comment, whatever. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
love what you're doing, keep it up.
Oh
And
yeah, that's how it
that was
started.
kind of-
yeah. Then I DM'd you. I was like, yo, what are you up to?
Yeah,
And then it led to me hopping on his podcast. And then we were like, hey, we need to fly you out here. Why don't you hop on ours? So here we are today.
there you go.
There's the backstory.
I like that. Did you guys think, this is the same guy that I grew up with in Okinawa, or have?
Well, I remember riding the bus with you.
Sure. Yeah.
When we lived outside outside Gate 5.
Yep.
In off of Kadena Air Force Base.
Yep.
And Dan was real quiet, real reserved, but my man could draw. That's what I really remember about you, because he used to get on the bus and he'd have these dope Dragon Ball Z drawings that he had put together. He's like, hey man, look what I did last night. That'd be like our bus ride to school.
Yeah.
You
See, I was into drawing. See, there's a whole story we can uncover there, but
I think we need to have a longer conversation than just a podcast.
Yeah, we let it rip, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I remember about Dan back in the day. And then almost 25 years go by, over 25 years.
No, it's been so long.
Yeah.
But
And then I'm like, oh
yeah.
What's really cool about our community of
people from Okie.
military brats.
Yeah.
Is I don't know, man. There's just something about our generation. Like a lot
Yeah.
of our friends are doing really cool stuff all over the world.
That's true.
And I feel like that's a through line for a lot of the people that we're now reconnecting with via social media.
I know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Was the conversation of wanting to own your own business or anything like that ever something y'all talked about as kids? Because
No.
kids are like that.
No. I don't think I wasn't even exposed to anything like that.
No.
I won't speak for you, but
I mean, my dad was a private practice criminal defense attorney.
yeah.
And he was a starter, but he wasn't a finisher as far as business is concerned. So he would in terms of income generation, he would work, he worked case to case.
Yeah.
Right. And then, dropped all that money either on the ponies, gambling, or on the kids.
Gotcha.
My mom was a 26-year Air Force veteran. So
Yeah.
I had drips of entrepreneurship via whatever the flavor of the month network marketing company was that was going to be my dad's $1 million briefcase, but that was kind of my the only exposure I really had to entrepreneurship.
Let me actually take back what I said. I said I didn't have exposure, but my mom ran her own cleaning business and like real estate. I mean, it wasn't huge or anything,
Right.
but I remember even like even when you were there, like she'd give me a gig to go clean the apartments, and I get paid like $100.
There you go.
But she would drop me off at the apartment. I cleaned the entire thing from the windowsill to the toilet. Like it had to be spotless.
Yeah.
You know, during the summers. So like I watched my mom. I mean, my dad obviously, you know, retired military kind of thing. But yeah. I mean, I saw it. My mom was.
That's interesting because I mean, your first off the bat was like, no, but it's still a business in itself to like have your own cleaning.
Yeah.
It's interesting how business can change. Well,
yeah, for sure.
All that to be said, one of the reasons that we did invite you on today's show is just to understand like your journey and how you started your business as well. Because based on what I've just heard from Dan and y'all's conversation from the last podcast, is there's a lot of similarities that even though it wasn't discussed as a kid,
I mean,
y'all,
we've been through it. You know what I mean? I was just telling Emilio there in the hallway when I was getting out of college and I was building my practice as a personal trainer and strength coach. You know, I'd leave the house at 4:30 in the morning, hit the dollar menu at McDonald's right outside my apartment complex.
When it was $1.
Right, right. You know, rock and roll, you know, 10, 14 sessions a day, come back, hit the dollar menu, and start lather, rinse, repeat the next day. Yeah. You know, in the very beginning, I almost got evicted twice. I had to borrow scholarship money from my little brother when he was in college to make rent one month, and then another month I had to pawn all my shit. I was talking about $600. Doesn't sound like a lot now.
Yeah,
it is when you're going through it,
empty
though.
Pockets,
man.
You know what
I
I mean?
It is when you're going through it. I know that.
And you know, just kind of the cliche of doing what you had to do to make it happen. And then I joined the Marine Corps. Right. You know, did a tour in Afghanistan in 2010. And I remember at officer candidate school, there's a dude from the University of Florida, Brian Taylor, who is in the rack next to mine. And one night, after we'd been hazed all day long and getting ready to do it again tomorrow, I was like, man, how long do you think you're going to do this? You're going to do 4 years? You're going to make it 20? What's the plan? Yeah. You know, because both my parents were career military. Right. And at that point, I was really flirting with the idea of doing 20 years. I was totally okay with that. Right. You know? And he gave me the soundest, most profound piece of advice that I carry with me, even in my entrepreneurial journey. And he said, I don't know, man. I'm just going to do it till it's not fun anymore. Yeah. And I got out in 4 years, and he's still in. So he's still having fun. That's you know good. What I mean? Yeah. And so that's kind of a guiding light for me. It's like, you know, am I having more good days than bad days? Right. You know, am I still having fun doing what I'm doing? Yeah. You know, and then everything's good after that. So when I left the Marine Corps in 2012, I got into Arizona State for grad school with the intention of finishing that program and then opening a gym. And at the time, just a gym bro. You know, my aspiration was to have my own fitness brand. Right. Right. And, you know, it only went as far as, like, success to me would have been a thriving client base. People were just having a great time sweating and smiling. Yeah. Sweating and smiling.
I like that. Yeah. I don't want to do it yet.
And I had no idea at that point the next level would evolve into the work that we do today. And I think that's predicated upon my genuine curiosity about human beings. Because I've been blessed with client longevity. I've worked with a handful of folks for over a decade now.
Oh, wow. And that's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, once we get past the, you know, I need to lose 40 pounds, I need to get off my blood pressure medications, I want to look better in my clothes, you know, I want to, you know, I want to have a more intimate relationship with my partner, you know, the lust is gone kind of thing. Well, now, once we resolve that issue, you know, through consistent training practices, better nutrition, all of those things, well, now we're having a deeper conversation. Because there comes a point in time where I'm like, why are we still doing this? If I've done my job, I know that you know, get in here at least 3 days a week, right? Lift that weight, push that load, eat this food. I know you know all that stuff. So why are we still doing this? Right. And the conversation evolves because the fitness thing, your physical being, is a symptom of your highest and best self, your spiritual self. And that making that connection really intrigued me. So my favorite story to tell as of late is I had a client come to me with all of those things,
right?
You know, and in the first 6 months, he's down 40 pounds. He's still not quite happy. So what are we doing, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm getting to know them, I realized that they become a slave to this beautiful machine that they've built in their business.
Yeah.
And through a lot of deep work, we also unpack that they no longer possess the skill and or the will to take it any further. So now we're at this crossroads where this beautiful machine that they've built no longer fills their cup.
Right.
And at the same time, you're 20 years into something. How do you just turn that off?
Yeah.
Right.
I know what you mean by turn it off. Yeah, for sure.
So he had to make some strategic decisions, right? Do I invest in the people and the infrastructure for it to scale on its own, or do I position it for M&A and allow it to be acquired? Because you know, a through line in this narrative is that he's spending more time doing all the stuff that had to be done,
right,
and not enough time doing the things that he wanted to do inside of the business.
Yeah.
Right. So over the next 18 months, he made the decision to position it for M&A. Now he sits on the board. He's only doing the things that he wants to do inside of the business.
Which is amazing.
And he's living his best life.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is amazing. And it's amazing that you were able to take him from point A to point B. I'm sure, I mean, there's a lot to uncover there, but there's a question that just popped up in my mind, which is, you know, like, and I speak for myself too, kind of like, I had to figure out the balance of like, you know, me being happy as I'm building the business, spiritually, mentally being positive all the time. Yeah. But then also the physical part, you know, for example, like this past 30 days, I probably went to the gym half the time as I usually go. Like usually I go like 6 or even when I'm on it, like I go like 9 times a week. But then this past like 4 weeks, I probably went like 3 times a week. So like the question with all that being said, when you're building a business, how do you have to structure your life to where you don't get to the point where you're like 50 pounds overweight, you're super unhappy, and get to the place where this guy got to? Like, what are some things, like, you know, as these Valyntpreneurs are listening, what can they do to make sure, like, you know, they don't get there? They're not overweight and they're not like unhappy, you know what I mean? And like super stressed.
The juggling act.
Yeah, the biggest thing, put simply, first, it depends.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. Yeah, I understand. There's no cookie cutter. Like,
no, absolutely not.
I understand.
So, you know, we come at things from a place of principle, which allows for the customization. Yeah. Right. Because it has to be customized for Dan. Yeah. It has to be customized for Mac. You guys are not the same. Right. Right. And beyond that, first and foremost, you got to make yourself a priority. Right. For your Valyntpreneurs. Yeah. Right. You're driving the ship. You know, as my wife told me a couple of years ago.
Nicole, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. She's my other better half. Yeah. And you know, as we're moving, you know, through the valley that was the pandemic in the fitness industry, you know, she told me, she was like, this doesn't go without you. You know, we were putting so much energy into keeping things afloat, you know. Yeah. I let myself get sick, all of these things, you know, violated the principles that we live and teach, you know what I'm saying? Just to keep this thing going. And you got to keep yourself a priority, because when you're the one guiding the vision, there's only one person. It doesn't matter how many COOs, CEOs, you know, there's only one Sam Walton. Right. You know,
Sure.
there's only one Jeff Bezos. You know, there's only one Elon Musk. Right? Somebody has to steer that ship. Somebody has to guide that vision.
Yeah.
And if you let yourself fall apart, and it doesn't matter if you have a 20, 30, 40-year run, all of that comes to a screeching halt.
Right.
As soon as that transition has to happen. And unfortunately, for a lot of people in the entrepreneur space, a lot of it has to do with, I mean, you see it in athletics all the time with head coaches stepping down because of health reasons and stuff like that. Because in the pursuit of championships, and this applies to business as well,
they let themselves
you
go.
let your health go by the wayside. You cannot do that. You have to and look, here's the truth. We're never going to not be busy.
Yeah.
Right?
There's always shit to do every day.
So you have to find a place in that calendar for you. And just like we made an appointment to be here today that would not be missed under almost any circumstances, you need to have that same standard for yourself. So that's we got to make that happen first and foremost.
Yeah.
How does, I love all that you just said. And so whenever somebody comes to work with you, not only in the gym, but how do you facilitate those conversations within that coaching and consulting? Is it all over lifting weights, what does that look like?
It can be, so we operate in fitness, healing, and mindset. And I was just telling Mac out in the hall, for a guy like you, we probably wouldn't even start with fitness.
Yeah.
We got to get you to sit still.
Yeah.
Say that one more time.
Right. So, it's highly underrated.
Yeah.
But even in our HQ, we have a healing center. We've got compression therapy. We've got ice bath. We've got IR sauna. We've got red light.
Yeah.
And yes, those are all healing modalities. But the through line in each of them is you got to sit still to do it. Right. You're not on your phone. You're not answering emails.
Yeah.
Right. We're allowing the healing to take place by essentially sitting still, letting that catharsis to set in. And then when you come out of those, not only are you refreshed, chances are that next big idea that you need to take action on will have landed for you. Right. You walk away from those experiences, those sessions, so much more clear just by virtue of eliminating that brain fog.
That's a good point.
Dan, have you done any ice baths or anything like that? Because I know you work out.
I was telling Mycal this morning in the car when we scooped you up today.
Yeah.
I've bought the thing, but I haven't built the thing, and I haven't put ice in the thing, and I haven't put myself in the thing. So
yeah.
The answer is I want to do it. I have good intents. I've changed different things about myself, and I made myself a priority.
Yeah.
I did do that, by not drinking anymore. That was a big thing for me, and it's only been 60 days, but it's the start of a good journey for me.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And there's I know this past month I didn't make myself a priority because I made Valynt a priority because I missed my morning workouts because I went to the office versus I made the decision in the morning, many mornings this past month.
Yep.
I was like, I'm just going to go to the office because there's so much I got to do.
Right.
So I didn't make myself first. But now that I'm talking, I'm like, yep, I got to get back to, because, the work is always going to be there.
Well, that's the thing, man. The work is always going to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
So at what point, what has to break for you to realize that
for sure
you left yourself behind?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't want this to be a therapy session for me.
Some people say podcasting is like therapy.
This is the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We don't have to make this about your situation, but this is, you asked, how does it go? Yeah. This is how it goes.
Yeah. That's very true.
So do you get... Oh, wait,
no, go ahead.
Would you get pushback, though, from people who, obviously they signed up to work with you?
Well, you see how uncomfortable he is right now. It's not... of course we get pushback.
Yeah.
Is there a moment where it's you know what, you're not willing to put in the work, you're not a right fit as a client?
Oh, I've and I've given my team also license to fire clients.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one thing to not... Because once you come to this level of awareness, you can't put it back in the box.
Yeah.
Right. And there's always the the stumbles when you're talking about replacing limiting behaviors with empowering ones, that's going to happen. You're going to have setbacks. We got to get you back on the horse. All of that is normal, right?
Right.
But there comes a point along the way where now you're choosing to not do the thing.
Right.
And once that becomes apparent, well, then it's just time for us to part ways.
Yeah, wasting time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, of course there's pushback. It's uncomfortable because it's not that working out, moving from sedentary, not doing shit to take care of yourself to, ice baths and training sessions and all that stuff. It's not that evolution is the hard part. Okay. It doesn't matter how that manifests. What's hard is moving away from what was comfortable and establishing a new set point. That's the hard part, because you've been in this routine, at least for the people that we work with, consciously or unconsciously, you've been in this routine with these habits and behaviors for a long time. It's not like we have a conversation and boom, you're doing ice baths every day, 365, you're in the gym 10 times a week now. Like, that doesn't happen tomorrow. Right. We have at the end of every session, we have this thing, we have what's called the next easiest step. And what we tell our clients is the magnitude of your progress does not matter. We will not give up on you as long as the trend line is positive. Okay.
Yep.
People come into this game thinking that they're gonna win it on a home run. Right. As soon as I lose the 40 pounds, like, game over, I'm off to the races.
Right.
It's like, no, like that's the beginning.
Right? That's a good point.
That is, yeah.
You mentioned that the one story earlier about the example story being somebody who owns a business. Is that what a lot of your clients look like?
We label our clients the executive athlete.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
The individual and that the characteristics of that avatar, if you will, is just somebody that realizes that is a high achiever, right? And by high achiever, it doesn't mean that they've amassed millions of dollars of wealth and they've got, assets out the wazoo and they're just absolutely crushing it in the corporate space. No. It's the person that knows they want and need more for themselves, right? And the athlete part comes in when they also realize that their physical well-being should be a priority as well. And then based on what their acceptable reality is, what they want for themselves, because let's be honest, not everybody wants a fucking six-pack.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to be making regular business at the hospital either.
Yeah. Very
so
the general population hopefully doesn't.
Yeah. So, we're working with a guy right now who aspires to climb Mount Everest in the next 2 years, and we're also working with somebody who just wants to make sure that they're getting themselves taken care of. In the gym 3 days a week. Right. So again, not everybody's journey, not everybody's end goal in terms of what they feel is healthy or optimal health is the same.
Right.
But when you approach it from a place of principle, you can handle and manage both those people. Right.
Yeah, that's very true. So like, I guess to kind of expand a little bit on what Mac just asked, like, so do you work with like, people like in a certain industry, or are they from like all walks of life?
All walks of life.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of insight there.
So we have folks that are in supply chain. We have folks that own chiropractic clinics. Yeah. We have the Max Mirror in another digital agency. It all comes down to, do they want more for themselves? Do they realize that they need to make their physical well-being a priority.
Right.
Because that's the base layer of lifestyle realignment.
Yeah.
You've got to take care of the physical vessel that is you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once we've made that priority consistent, now we can start to explore the things that lead to your highest and best self, those emotional, mental, and spiritual layers as well.
Yeah. That starts to make me think like if there's a correlation between like entrepreneurs that are like, you know, consistently taking care of their physical self and mental self and how successful they become versus like people that kind of like throw that to the side and then try to continue to just focus on entrepreneurship.
Well, that's a really good question because some would argue, yes, you can.
Sure.
And we have a million examples of really fat people in ill health that are extremely wealthy.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Right. So what is your definition of success?
Yeah. I guess like what kind of person of success do you want to become? Like at the height of it, maybe.
Right.
You know.
I know as we're building next level and taking it where we're going, I don't want to miss out on my kids' milestones.
Right.
You know, I want to be able to get up and run around with them and do all the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I work with another cat right now who missed all of his kids' football games.
Right.
Never went to one.
Wow.
You know?
But I guess that's he's okay with that, maybe.
He's actually not.
Oh, he's not okay.
Because here's the thing, right? It's like, oh, I have to, we talk ourselves into this shit all the time.
For
right?
sure.
I can't be there because.
That's a great point. Yeah.
I can't be there because the business needs me.
Yeah.
Right. And I went through this really early in my career where I was at home and thought I should have been at work. And I was at work pissed because I knew I should have been at home.
Yeah.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, going back to the work is always going to be there. Right. If I go to my son's game, is it going to fall apart?
Right.
Because if that is the truth, you have other shit to worry about.
Yeah.
When
for sure.
More likely is maybe that one deal doesn't get closed. Right. I'll just close another one tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
But my kid's going to remember me not being there forever.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's heavy.
And that kind of gets into sacrifice, but I do want to say this quick. Like, I even have that mentality, like, when I first started Valynt, like, email responses to clients. I'm like, if I got an email, like, let's just say right now at 12:40 p.m., I had this mentality, like, I had to respond the same day. Like, it took me 2-3 years being into Valynt saying like, hey, the client can get a response within 24, 40 hours. Like, you know, like just setting those boundaries.
A reasonable amount of time.
Becomes important. But like, I do understand why people kind of get into that. Like, I have to be there because your goal is so important to you.
Yeah.
And it's like this North Star that you're really chasing day after day. And especially like when you're like years into it, right? Like it starts to consume you. And then where I'm going with this is like, you know, I've debated this, like what sacrifices am I willing to make to get myself there? And sacrifices, I think, means different things for different people depending on where they are in their life. You know, if you have a family, like what does it mean, like sacrificing time with your family? You know, if you don't have a family like myself, like, you know, just like wife and kids, you know, I have a family, like I have a mom and all of that, but you get what I'm saying.
You're not an orphan, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Like what am I willing to miss? Because you know I debate that, but I genuinely like what it is that I do. So like I don't feel like I'm missing anything, but I wonder if people would argue,
it can get, yes, sacrifices need to be made. Yes, I've missed what I would consider important milestones. You know, like you can't eliminate all of it. That's not realistic either. You know, and I don't want to have people mistaken the message I'm trying to send. Yeah. Right. But you got to be strategic.
Very true.
And we can get carried away in that sacrifice that you sacrifice so much that by the time you get to whatever the end of the rainbow is, you've missed all the shit that you can't do it. You know, like we'll talk about your kids' first steps. You know, you don't come back to that when they're 25.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I understand.
Things like that. So like, what do you want to miss? Like my kids don't know that I wasn't there for their first steps. Mycal's willing to make that concession on behalf of the business.
Well, they're gonna watch this years later
because it moves right. Yeah. Because it moved next level forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Very sure.
At the same time, I'm not gonna miss their first trip to Disney. You know.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
So how does your wife play? How does Nicole play a part of everything that is you do with Next Level? Is she integrated into it?
She's the integrator.
Okay.
Integrator. Can you explain that to us?
She takes all my crazy ass ideas and she brings them to the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, she makes sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I always mess that one up.
I think I messed that up yesterday.
No, Nicole's an absolute rock star, you know, and I want to just take this moment to just let the planet know that she is the bedrock of everything that we do.
Wow.
You know, like we don't get here without her.
Right.
As a family or as a business.
Right.
Yeah, we had this really interesting dynamic between the two of us where before we evolved into the real strategic understanding of people, there were things about each other that used to cause us a lot of friction. And where I would feel like she was holding us back and she felt like I was pushing too hard. Right.
Yeah.
Unstoppable force, immovable object type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel you. Yep.
And what we came to find and what we do at the organizational level through Next Level now is those things that were causing us conflict are the things that make us so complementary. And so she's extremely strategic about timing. Right? Like everything sounds like a good idea that we should jump on right now to me.
Right.
She said, no. Have you thought this all the way through? Is it in alignment with our vision? She's my reality check.
Got it.
Because my head's in the clouds all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But because she's involved, I get to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
I was going to ask you about that. Like, hey, who's holding it down? You know, like what's happening over there?
Our team is absolutely amazing, and we've built a structure in our company that is they report to me, and within their certain roles and responsibilities, I report to them.
I see.
So we have this
interesting
unilateral accountability where it's like, hey, Mycal, did you follow through on this thing? Did you have that meeting? You know, where are we at with this project? Yeah. You know, and vice versa. So we don't have a top down, bottom up structure. Right. You know, so
I gotcha.
How many people are on your team?
7.
7. Okay, it's kind of similar to Valynt's.
Yeah.
Growing. Yeah. Do you have plans to add more to your team or expand?
Very strategically.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things I took with me from the Marine Corps is this concept of small unit leadership, where everybody's a subject matter expert, if you will, within their specific roles in the business, and they're not easily replaced, nor are we growing at such a rate that we're outpacing the training or the culture.
Right. I understand that, you know, like us being 10 strong and us adding like 2 more people within the next few weeks, the team dynamic starts to become important, and I'm seeing that in real time as it's happening. And it's almost like, you know, you bring in one wrong person and it has a very trickle effect on everybody else, on workflow, on how things are getting done. I mean, I've been experiencing this just recently by adding a vendor to take care of a certain thing of our business. And how it quickly affected. And you can see sometimes it's a quick positive effect, but then equally you can see the quick negative effect that affected our customers' experience.
Yeah.
Which led back to me like within like the same day. You know, so like it's a very tricky thing, and it's important, like the right team members and having the right, you know.
Are you familiar with the concept of honest conflict versus dishonest harmony?
No, please share.
Yeah, please share that.
So, you know, we were talking in the car.
Yeah.
You know, like uncomfortable conversations are not necessarily associated with negative outcomes.
Right.
Right. A lot of really awesome things are born on the other side of that friction.
Yeah.
Right. And the only way that you come to the positive is by embracing that honest conflict. I have ideas. You have ideas.
Right.
You have ideas.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. This is and they're all in line, or hopefully they're all in line with getting us to this North Star. If we're gonna get anywhere, your North Star, my North Star can't be different North Stars.
Yeah, it has to be the same.
We all gotta be headed in the same direction.
Yeah.
But of the three of us, which idea moves us there the fastest? Right. And when we fall in love with our ideas, right? Obviously, I think my idea is the best. Right.
Sure.
We gotta have an honest conflict that you know could get heated, could cause friction.
Yeah.
Right. Could cause you to look at me sideways, and vice versa. But we're all trying to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right. Versus dishonest harmony is like, well, it's Mycal's company, so fuck what I think. We'll just do what he
Yeah, okay. So that's a very important part of culture. Like, I know we built a place to where everybody can voice their opinions, and we do our best to pick the best option.
Yeah.
But I use what's called the recovery method. So like and there was this Harvard study that I learned about like 7 or 8 years ago. So instead of strategizing all the time, you make the best decision with the data that you have and the best people that you have, and you just go for it. And then during that process, everybody's on the same page to where if it's not the right direction, without question, the entire team makes a turn and goes into the other lane immediately without hesitation.
Yes.
And that's the recovery method. And that's the methodology that we've used at Valynt to make decisions, one, and how we move ourselves forward quickly.
Right.
You know, and I think that turns into like being able to grow a business like much faster because, you know, there's a meeting within meetings within meetings within meetings that some organizations have, which is a waste of fucking time. Right. Like, just make a decision, take the step.
Oh, yeah.
If it's the wrong direction, just go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Dude, it just happened the other day. I'm always optimizing the space. Like,
sure.
Okay, this was a good idea at the time that we did it. Now this doesn't really serve us moving forward, right? So I moved my office, which freed up an office. I'm like, ooh, well, we can convert this into a changing room, move red light over here, and da-da-da-da. Yeah. So we have a board in the back called our Big Three. And we have a team meeting every Friday. Yeah. And everybody brings their Big Three. Some of those are like 5-second updates. Some of those are like, 30, 45-minute deep dives, right? And we walk through those big threes, we prioritize them, and we just start working at it, right? Yeah. So last Friday, that was my big idea. And then Nicole's like, I think we should do something else. Right. And in that moment, because I was like, full steam ahead in my mind, I was like, man, fuck. I really wanted to do that, right? But then the team was like, no, her idea is better. Right. Rock on. Okay. Yeah. Cool. You know what I mean?
That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the kind of culture that we have in that it's like, yeah, I know this is going to piss you off, but we need to have this conversation. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because these are the things that I see that you may not have thought about. And at the same time, there's still room. Like, yeah, I totally thought about that, but we're going to do it anyway. Right. Right. That dynamic also exists. Right. But it comes down to trust. You know? Yeah, that was super uncomfortable for me. I didn't like anything about that conversation. Right. But I also know that the best interest of Next Level is at the forefront of that feedback. And I know that their love and respect for me is why we're having this conversation in the first place. Yeah. Yeah.
That resonates with me a lot because I feel like we've gotten a lot better at that too. Still uncomfortable, obviously, sometimes,
for sure.
but like, we've gotten a lot better at that too throughout because we know
honest conversations do move you forward much faster too, and then it actually, prevents blow-ups and conflicts like down the road anyway. To start with, it's just a win-win overall. But that being said, we can keep talking about. We're gonna continue to talk about this, for like during lunch and stuff. But for the sake of the Valynt volume, I kind of want to start to kind of wrap it up a little bit. Sure. I want to ask you this question though. For the Valyntpreneurs that listen to this Valynt volume, what advice would you give someone that's in the journey, that's in the grind, like trying to build something that they're looking to build? What advice would you give them? Like, I know it's kind of broad, but like,
no, man, that was easy. You gotta get the right people around you. Like that, I speak the language of who. When it comes to big visions, goal setting, the next easiest step, like who's involved.
I like that,
because you're not going to take Valynt where you want it to go all by yourself.
No, there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Next level isn't going where it's going by Mycal's efforts alone. Right. Who's on the team? The team that we have has gotten us this far. You asked the question about expanding. Like, okay, who else do we need to move it forward from here? If we need anybody. Right? Who wants to take on more, right? With the people that we have, and who can take that on well, right? Bigger question. So, get the right people on the team, and be very, very strategic with who you consider to be a mentor. And what I mean by that is, is the person or people that you're taking guidance from, do they exemplify where it is you want to go? Whether it's by example or by guidance. What a mistake that I made early on with a mentor of mine, and I wouldn't figure out where the disconnect was until after I finished my degree at Thunderbird in business school. From everybody looks at it, if you watch the ticker on MSNBC, you're watching CEOs get exchanged at a cyclic rate. So-and-so got relieved, so-and-so got fired, blah, 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 blah. And I was always curious as to why that dynamic exists. Like, how much money did that person lose to lose their position? And what the truth of the matter is that, these roles are skill sets.
It is.
It's a skill set to take a startup from 0 to $1 million. It's a skill set to take it from $1 million to $5 million.
Talking about the same stuff.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I was getting $5 million guidance. But I hadn't cracked $500,000 yet.
Because advice, I totally resonate.
I wasn't prepared to effectively implement the guidance I was being given because they were 2-3 levels ahead.
Because you got to go in phases for sure too. I understand that.
You see what I'm saying?
It's very
that's some good advice to close it out.
We talked about that this past week about
everybody wants to go to Grant Cardone.
But you got to start.
But dude, have you invested in your first property at all yet? Because when you're getting in the company of somebody that's speaking to you at scale.
That's very true. Versus like in the building phase of it.
And not to say that you can't jump into that water, but I would also say, guess. Most people aren't prepared.
Right.
You don't have the capital behind you, etc. There's a lot of things that you have to have in place to really implement that at a high level. Right. So I don't mean be strategic about who your mentors are from a standpoint of their character. Just make sure that you're in a phase of your life and or business where you can effectively implement the guidance you're asking for.
There you go. Good. Well, look, Mycal, we appreciate you, coming on the volume. Mac, if you want to wrap it all up for us.
So where can people find you, whether it be listening to your podcast or socials?
So, like I said, we specialize in fitness, healing, and mindset. And when you're ready to have that conversation to bring your lifestyle into realignment with who you truly aspire to be, reach out. You can find us at Next Level PFC. That's Papa Foxtrot Charlie.com. You can find me at Coach Durs with a Z on Instagram. And you can see what we're doing at Next Level at nextlevel_PHX, like Phoenix, on Instagram as well.
Thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me drop a plug.
Yeah, for sure.
You can find the podcast that I did with Dan.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, and follow Progress Always on Spotify.
Thank you for that, Mycal.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. And to all the Valyntpreneurs out there, if you have other guests that you think we should have on or topics you want us to cover, email us at hello@valyntdigital.com.
Until next volume.
Thanks. Peace.